3.2 unit rates. So a unit rate is a rate where we have a denominator of 1. You use common terms like miles per hour or gallons per mile, dollars per hour or dollars per ounce. And we can do this or the reason that we do this is we want to get the denominator to be 1 so that we know how much something is per 1 unit. For example, if Stewie drove 102 miles in 3 hours, we want to know the average number of miles he drove per hour. So I'm going to set up a ratio of 102 miles per, and this is one of the examples where we use the word per instead of 2, 3 hours. Now in order to convert this to an equivalent fraction where 1 is in our denominator, or 1 hour is in our denominator, I need to figure out what operation I use to get 3 to turn into 1, and that is division. And I divided by 3 here. I'm going to do the same on the numerator. 102 divided by 3, and I can do that on a separate scrap piece over here. 3 goes into 10 3 times. 34 miles. So, Stewie drove an average of 34 miles per hour on his trip. The second example says Brian types 240 words in 4 minutes. What is his unit rate in words per minute? So, I have 240 words per 4 minutes. And I need to, again, use equivalent fractions to convert that to have a denominator of 1. In order to do that, I'm going to divide by 4. And again, I use this denominator to figure out what I'm dividing by. And I do the same in the numerator here. And I can do this calculation over here if I need to. Words per minute. Now some of these common phrases like words per minute and miles per hour, we have a shortened version of it that we can use. So instead of saying 34 miles over 1 hour, we would write 34 miles per hour. Or 60 words per 1 minute, we can write as 60 words per minute. So unit rates can help us to compare two items, especially in cost, to figure out which is the better buy. So in this case we're comparing two people that are running. So we have Peter can run 4 miles in 30 minutes, and Lois can run 3 miles in 24 minutes. Who is the faster runner? So I need to figure out how fast or how many miles each person can run in, or how many minutes it takes for each person to run 1 mile, and then I can compare the two runners. So I'm going to set up a little table here where I have Peter on this side, Lois on the other, and I'm going to compare Peter's 30 minutes for 4 miles to Lois's 24 minutes in 3 miles. Sorry. So I'm going to use my equivalent fractions, set up a common denominator, or a denominator of 1 to compare these two. And I'm going to use division in order to find out what my numerator is. So divide by 4. 30 divided by 4 is going to give me 7.5 minutes to run 1 mile. So Peter can run 1 mile in 7.5 minutes. Lois, I'm going to divide by 3. 24 divided by 3 is 8 minutes. So Lois can run 1 mile in 8 minutes. So who is the faster runner? That would be Peter. This is an example of when you would use unit rates to compare two prices like in a store. So I have two music stores here, Music City and CD World. Both of them have a sale on CDs, and I want to know which one has the better price per CD. So on this side I have Music City. On this side I have CD World. And I'm going to compare these using a rate. So I have 49.95 over 5 CDs. And over here I have 65.80 for 7 CDs. Now, why did the CDs go in the denominator? I want to know how much money each CD is. I want to know the cost per CD. So the CD has to go on the bottom. In this example, I wanted to know how many minutes per mile. So the mile went in the denominator. So you want to make sure whatever you're finding the cost per of or the amount of per of is what goes in your denominator here. So I'm going to set up another set of equivalent fractions. I'm going to use division. And I can't do this in my head, so I'm going to do it over on a scrap piece here. 65.80 divided by 7. 7 goes into 65. Let's see, 9 times, and that's 63. 7 goes into 28 4 times. $9.40 per CD. On this side, I'm going to divide by 5. And again, I can't do this in my head, so I'm going to do it on a separate piece over here. Okay, 5 goes into 49 9 times, and that's 45. 5 goes into 49 again, 9 times, and that's 45. And that 5 goes into 45 9 times. So over here, it's $9.99 per CD. So which was the better buy? CD World, because each CD only costs $9.40. Here's an example that has kind of 3 parts. So I have a 5-minute shower that uses 18 gallons of water. The first thing I want to know is how much water per minute each shower takes. So I'm doing per minute, which means my minutes are going to go in the denominator. So I have 18 gallons per 5 minutes, which equates to, divided by 5, divided by 5. 18 divided by 5 would be 3.5, so 3.6 gallons. So each minute I use 3.6 gallons of water in my shower. Down here it says how long does a shower last if you only use 1 gallon of water. Now I want to do a unit rate where the gallon is on my denominator. So I'm going to set up the same rate, but instead of comparing gallons to minutes, I'm going to compare minutes to gallons. 5 minutes for 18 gallons, and I want to know for 1 gallon how many minutes it would take to use up that. So I'm going to divide by 18. And this is another division problem I'll need to do over here. So 5 divided by 18. I'm going to add some zeros so I can divide here. 18 goes into 50 probably twice, which is 36. 3 times?
Twice.
Twice?
Yeah.
So when I subtract, I get 14. 18 goes into 140 probably 8 times. No, probably not 8 times, correct? 8 times 8 is 64.
7.
8.
This would be 7 times, I think.
7 times? Yeah. 18 times 7. 56. 7 times 1 is 7, plus 5 is 12. 126. And I'm left with 14 again. And it would be 7 again. So 0.277 minutes. If we use reasoning here, that's about 0.25, which is about a quarter, which means it's about a quarter of a minute, about 15 seconds. So that would make sense here because it takes in 1 minute I use about 3 to 4 gallons. How much more water is used in a 20-minute shower than a 13-minute shower? So I'm going to go back up here where I have 3.6 gallons per 1 minute. And I'm going to use that to figure out how long or how many gallons I would use in a 20-minute shower and in a 13-minute shower, and I'm going to compare those two amounts. So here I am multiplying by 20, so I'm going to multiply by 20 up here. 20 times 3.6. $720 with my decimal in there, so 72 gallons. 72 gallons for a 20-minute shower. On this side, I have 3.6 gallons, 1 minute. For a 13-minute shower, I'm multiplying by 13 here. 13 times 3.6. $46.8 gallons. And the question asks me how much more. That's a subtraction problem. So I'm going to now use a different color to specify. 72.0 minus 46.8. And that is 25.2 gallons of water.